Hello, everyone. I think at this moment, one of the things that really should worry Nigerians is how compromised, we are in our own country. Looking at INEC, INEC is supposed to protect our data, our information. For every time that you go and you have something, you go in and you register on INEC and you put in all your details. It's believing that every one of it is going to be safe and safeguarded. Even a president should not be able to have access to your data. But what you're saying today is quite different. A few days ago, Lere Olayinka, you understand, that one that is always doing houseboy for Wike, that kneels down for him and does sorts of things, that runs his mouth like no man's business. He was running his mouth, on my issue the other day, but I just didn't have somebody that needs to feed with an SS whatever job. It's not somebody I should be wasting time on. And Emeka Ike is one of the House of Representative aspirants of the NDC in Abuja. And of course, rightly, he has been crying out on the fact that primaries were not done in Abuja. And people were just brought out in. Yes, I chose not to focus on that issue and focus on the presidential aspiration. One, for me, I'm not desperate to be in any office. I don't need the service. I've always said this thing. Service for me is a job. How do I put it? It's a chore. Okay, not a job, a chore. It's gonna limit me on a lot of ways. One is gonna limit me on my use of my mouth, the way I will talk. Because they know say they talk, I mean don't kukuma talk 100. But as a public servant, they will talk 100. We even fit talk one because you're being paid by taxpayers' money. And so for me, it's a chore that limits my freedom, my capacity to talk and all of that. It also limits my capacity to be able to travel. Most times I travel out of the country. Sometimes I do some weeks, sometimes I do months out of the country, and I owe nobody any explanation. But as a public servant, of course, you will not be able to do that. So it's a chore for me. I really don't, have to be there. There are some people who take it as something that we really need to be. I can afford to say I'm not going to be focused on it, but that doesn't mean that everybody has to be like that. And Emeka Ike he has every right to complain and cry out. And this man comes, he's talking in the nonsense as far as I'm concerned. Lere Olayinka, whatever it is he calls himself, puts out a tweet, and this is where the danger of it all is. He puts out a tweet and he says, Emeka Ike was a registered voter in Imo State. He only transferred his INEC registration to the FCT on May 15, 2026, and he said 15 days ago. And he wants to contest for House of Reps in Abuja. Someone who has never voted in SCTO, according to Lere. What happened to his Imo State? The obedient people, disobedient people, eh? I mean, this is such a very foolish take. You understand? First of all, every Nigerian has a right to contest anywhere, wherever you are. Nobody said it has to be in your place of origin. It's the dynamics and the optics sometimes people opt for. It's gotten to a place, you find out that people that are born in certain places, they are not even allowed to compete in those places. They are taken, elsewhere. They are forced to go to their state authority, even if they've lived their whole lives in particular place. That's not the way it is. And I've always said, wherever I am, if I decide to contest, that's where I'm going to contest for. If I'm in Lagos, if Lagos is my place of residence where I'm staying, and I decide to contest, I'm going to contest there. It then knows your business whether you're going to vote me or you're not going to vote me. I don't care what the dynamics are. If I'm in Edo, I'm living in Edo and everything, I will contest in Edo. If it's Delta, I will contest. If it's Anambra, I will contest. The worst case scenario, you do not vote me. That is it. There's no other two ways about it. Then, as foolishly as foolishness can be, he comes out that he wants to give evidence. That can make us show and say, I did somewhere. Those people who are social climbers, who always want to do, see him always taking pictures of himself in places, inserting himself in, may they know, say, there's certain places. He brings out the evidence to actually show the data. And from that data, you could see that it has this thing, a login, cvradmin.inecnigeria.org/applications underscore manager slash view application, then some figures, whatever. So this is not a document that is in the public domain. If it's a document that is in the public domain that anybody could go in and check it, then there's no big deal about it. He has every right to go and check it and all of that. But you could see explicitly that this is a document that you need to be able to sign into for you to see it. How then did a media person, a special advisor or whatever advisor to Wike, how did he have access to this? And if he has access to this, what other things does Wike have access to? What other thing does Mr. Tinubu, the former governor of Lagos State, have access to? These are things that really worrying when we are talking about election being free and fair. When we are talking about the integrity of an electoral process, these are some of the things that people talk about. There's no longer free, fair election when you're beginning to have certain people who are in certain parties having access to data that belongs to the whole of the country, that is with the electoral umpire. So definitely there's no free, fair election anywhere. The electoral process has been compromised even before it starts. This is something honestly that needs to worry a lot of Nigerians. And then he goes on, what is available to INEC admin. So this is CVRA admin, INEC, Nigeria.org login index. So you see, this is something that is only available to INEC admin. Probably it's not even every staff in INEC that has access to it. Most likely it's not every staff. You can open up those kind of things to everybody. It's not every staff that has access to it. It's a few people, and within that few people this is coming out. We've seen the other time, of course, the current INEC chairman being very partisan in 2023 when he was supporting Tinubu's election, or his candidacy rather, and during the 2023 election, him praying and everything that Tinubu should win election. That's one of the things that you're not supposed to do as an INEC chairman. You're not supposed to be partisan. That should be out of the way. But these are some of the things that we're dealing with right now. And I tell you, for my own, this is my take on this whole thing, this whole shenanigans. There's no need trying to get them to do the right thing. They don't have capacity to do the right thing. The people must resist this madness. I've said it repeatedly before. Some have tried to put it out of context in whatever way that they deem it. Let me categorically say that the 2027 election, it's a war. Nigerians will be fighting for their soul and for the soul of their nation. They'll be fighting for their freedom. As we go into this election, let's assume that INEC is compromised. Let's assume there won't be any electronic transmission of anything. Let people come out. It is also a day that we can have a revolution if the revolution is what people want. Let's come out on that day and go and vote. We stay, we do not go back home. We vote, we escort, we look at it as if it's going to be a manual transmission. Whatever votes that are done there, we ensure these are the things that are put in. We escort from the polling unit. We go to the Ward Collation Center, we go to the Local Government Collation Center, we go to the State Collation Center, and then finally to the Federal Collation Center. And we insist and make sure that every vote that we have, that's the way it is entered. It is a perfect day for Occupy. We should all be on the street. We must ensure that we get our country back and not allow it to be used as it is currently being done by charlatans. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.